as we knew he was injured, it's like, okay, if there's an injury, like the dumbest thing people say is like, oh, just a slight injury, don't worry about it. Like that's always bad advice. You never know how bad an injury could be. You should worry about it all the time.
I feel like you're really just pointing to like a worst case scenario of something that happened this year, but there's been other examples of guys that have been hurt. It's hurt their draft stock. It's like, oh yeah, they were fine the whole time. They were like the best pick.
Yeah.
So
and I was like, looks like we're not getting Jalen Hurts this week by the looks of it. So another thing, we're like, oh, don't worry.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Schefter just tweeted out
that
he's still in concussion protocol.
Sure. Yeah, but it's Tuesday. It's Monday,
and the line has already moved more towards the Eagles now.
I'm just saying, if he's still in concussion protocol, I'd say it's at least a 50-50 proposition that he plays.
I mean, there's a chance that he just didn't try to get out of concussion protocol yet because they haven't actually practiced.
I don't think it's up to him. I don't think that's not how
you have to undergo the evaluations. That's how it works. And if you're not at the facility, then you have to remain in protocol because you didn't have a chance to get out of it.
I agree. I think that's kind of a nothing burger, but Schefter is smart enough to know that that's like a tweet that will gain a lot of traction, even though it's irrelevant to...
You put that out in the ecosystem for a particular reason, to tip people off.
I don't know about that.
Hey, have you been digging in on the conspiracy boards? What's going on?
What I want is a Tanner McKee playoff game. What I want is him to be legit.
If you want to make these bold points, let's put some money behind it. I will bet you he plays the game.
I don't see what the value in betting on someone's concussion is. That seems foolish. I'm not going to do it.
If you want to make bold proclamations,
no, but like that seems extremely gross to do. So I'm
not the guy who's wishing for people's ACLs to be blown out like you.
I don't do that. I did not do that. I yelled at one point that they should tackle low on Malik Washington because they couldn't tackle him high.
So when you say things like, it'd be a real shame if his ACL got blown out, that's not you saying you wish his ACL was blown out, that's you talking around it?
It would be a real shame. Are we almost ready to roll here? I know I hate to push you on this, but...
Yeah, we're already recording.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog Super Wildcard Weekend. Spread picks, preview, Cust Corner. We have it all for you. You want to jump to a game? You good people hit the time codes. Additionally, you smash the like to the episode, sub to Mayo Media Network, and Geoff, I cannot stress this enough. The golf one and done starts on Thursday at the beginning of the Sony Open. There are still spots available, and I need your help to fill it. Will you help me fill it, Geoff?
I'm helping you. I will help more if needed. Although Diva Tim can't enter because even last year he had a picks caddy and still said it wasn't enough service for him. So he's not helping, I assume.
True. Well, you go down to the description and find the link, or just go to fantasygolfchampionships.com. I have a strategy article down there in case you don't know anything. The great part about the one and done is you don't need to know anything about golf. And it's a reason to tune into Geoff and I's Monday golf show between football season. Give you something to do. All right? Bringing him in. Someone who I do need to help me. Maybe even max entry the one and done. It is Tim Undergust.
Tim Undergust.
That's not my name.
Can you help me max enter?
I don't know what that means.
To get enough to have the maximum amount of entries in the one and done.
People should sign up. Since it's a lot of fun if you like golf.
So you're gonna get in?
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun for if you like golf, people. That's what I've got to say.
You like golf? Can you get in? I need the help.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have I ever helped you before?
You have helped me lots, and I try to help myself, and I'm helping now.
By doing
if
what?
People enjoy golf.
Not entering. You enjoy golf.
If people enjoy golf, they should participate.
So you're saying that you should participate?
I'm saying I played several times, and it has been a fun experience. People who enjoy it should participate.
Then why wouldn't you play again?
Honestly, because I am the worst at putting my picks in, and it's a waste of spot for me.
Well, that's not a very good sell on it now, is it? You can put in your phone number. It will text you to make picks. Are you incapable of reading? Is that a problem for you? Because you're on your phone.
He needed more help.
You're on your phone 20 hours a day. You're going to see it pop up.
That's not true. That thing just says I'm on my phone 15 hours a day, but that's because I'm falling asleep with YouTube videos that are going. And that's why it says I have a 15-hour-a-day screen time. But that's not an accurate portrayal of the actual time I'm watching the screen.
I mean, there's rarely a text that goes by that you can't respond to right away.
There are stretches of the day where I am incommunicado.
And do you think that when something texts you, say, hey, you haven't made your pick, you can make your pick, that wouldn't trigger me like, oh, I should spend the 5 seconds to make my pick?
I intend to, and then I get distracted, and I'm really bad at this. I'm starting to sound like Cam here, but like I'm the worst at this stuff.
He's already many times this year, I feel like, lamented that the text reminder, like the night before it's due, isn't even enough to help him remember.
That's outrageous. You could help me out here. You could help out the Pat Mayo experience. You could help out the show, viewers of the show, $1 million pot guaranteed. And you won't even help us out. Thanks. Recapping last week. Tim, you did win the picks pool amongst the three of us. The coin beat us all, so we lost to flipping a coin. So the coin is the overall champion of the spread picks at 130 and 133. But amongst the three of us, Tim, you were the champ, 127 and 136.
The sentient champion.
So you won multiple championships on the weekend.
I did win multiple championships on the weekend, yes.
Geoff, you were the only one with a winning week in week 17. You finished at 121 and 141. That was better than me. My worst year ever in the spread picks. I went 6 and 10. I finished 117 and 145 overall. The saving grace in all of this, I did win the SUPERLOCKS. Ended the year very badly, I think with 5 losses in a row, but I was 11 and 2. I finished 11 and 7, 9 and 8. Geoff, you inched above 500 thanks to the Jets in week number 18. And Tim, you lost again. You were 6. You had the best picks record overall, but you were 6 and 12 with your best bet.
Not great. You're basically the Pittsburgh Steelers of the gold picks.
See, I love that. I mean, in this scenario, I would like to have the gold picks more right than the collection of picks. I'm not making 16 bets a week. The pointless parlay loss, though, putting Tennessee on there was a bad idea.
You did very irresponsible.
Yeah. So you finish 5, unless you continue to go through the playoffs, which you may. You were 5 and 15 for the year. Although with the plus money parlays and teasers that you hit, you actually won money for the first time ever on your free money. So congratulations. But you are 31 and 152 overall.
Well, the only way to improve a batting average is just by going 2 for 4 day after day after day.
Before we jump into the picks for the games, just want to run a few things by you. Which of the hilarious names, Tim, that's been floated that the Jets want to interview intrigues you the most?
I think Brian Flores.
Not Matt Nagy?
No, I don't want Matt Nagy. I don't get too worked up one way or the other about interviews. I think I said this last week. Like, wake me up when they're making a hire or at least going through a second set of interviews. Like, these are just guys. These are just names. They're getting it's information gathering. The same with the GMs that they're interviewing. I don't get too wild when the motivation is.
Can you say that last part again? Is the reason that you won't play in the one and done is because you can't afford to, just like you can't afford internet?
I don't understand. It's actually really frustrating me. I have like the best internet you could possibly own.
You don't.
I actually do. I actually do.
How much do you? Because Paul and I have the actual best internet you can have. How much do you pay per month for internet? Is it over $300?
It's no okay.
He's got the best internet. The pamphlet tells him.
That's right.
They offer.
That's right. Yeah.
Like
right.
You've got the off-market, real special stuff. Well,
Yeah,
on market, but like not really advertised as such.
You need to get that good internet. Or maybe not. Maybe we can write it off.
It's only ever an issue. It's only ever an issue at the start of the show. I think it's just because the massive media file that this is, and that I never have any issues.
What are you
hold on.
about?
Do you think that you're
like
recording?
the streaming?
Do you think that you're recording this file?
No, I'm not. But just the amount of like data that it's using through the fact that it's all these videos, like has to be what it is. Because otherwise, I never have any issues.
I mean, you're having far fewer upload speed and download speed right now than you would like streaming something on Netflix.
I've never have issues with it.
I mean, maybe you do and you just don't know. Maybe it's a lot slower, not as HD as you think. Paul would like to chime in. Yes, Paul.
Can Tim run a speed test?
I don't think that he can.
No, there's no way.
We definitely do not have enough time. Tim has a heart out today to get him. That's like a 20-minute procedure for a 2-second thing.
Yeah.
What's a speed test? Do I just like say a word and it's how quickly you hear me say the word is indicative of the speed?
No, it's you checking a setting, but like you could
No,
crash the
no.
whole computer and then
No,
No,
that
no,
you
I don't.
cannot crash the whole computer. Just Google speed test. Just,
I don't want to. I don't want to do this.
Just Google it. Then we can figure out what your problem is. Just Google speed test.
I don't want to do this. I
Just
hate
fucking
going through the
Google it.
settings
We
of
can
my-
find out what's the problem.
There is no problem, is the
Oh,
thing.
Then what's the problem?
It baffles me.
Maybe by running a speed test, we could figure that out.
I googled it. There's like 500 things.
Yeah, and
just pick these one, go to fast.com. I just ran one.
Pretend that we're your grandmother.
Yeah,
And listen to us for
fast.com,
1
just
second.
Go to it.
210 Mbps.
Okay, and what
It's not.
is that showing the up? So that's the up. So that should be really good. I don't know what the problem is.
I told you. I don't know either. Maybe it's a Zoom connection. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's an unsecure network, but either way, that should be enough speed to make this work. So interesting. See, that didn't take too long. We underestimated your abilities to run a speed test on your computer. Did you like the Rex Ryan says that he's not going to have the country club atmosphere with Aaron Rodgers? Maybe hold him accountable for
Rex
something?
Ryan's not getting an interview anywhere else in the NFL. So he's like essentially assuming his only hope of getting a job is just to be as outrageous and to be as aggressive as possible to try to sell the media on why he should have the job. And that people should then back him on that. I think that's what he's swashbuckling to do.
Listen, the Jets, the Rex thing, it's just like it's kind of like a sign of respect. Like, you coached here, you're still on TV, you're asking for an interview, we will grant it for you. It is noteworthy that the Jets know that they're a swamp donkey right now. They don't even have the guts to ask Ben Johnson if he wants to go on a date. Like, they are self-aware enough to know. Like, I go in the bar in college, I wasn't, start at that. Self-aware enough to know, I'm not going to the 9s and 10s.
Jeff, that is a mistake. That was the move you should have made right there. Should have done the opposite of that. That's the move.
Whatever. Everything worked out great. But you throw a short little mid-range. I didn't have it to hit from downtown.
So
we weren't going under the net. We weren't putting putbacks or layups either. But yeah. Anyhow, the Jets know that they're the ugly duckling, and we can't ask that pretty girl, because that pretty girl would just turn us down. It'd be embarrassing.
So you went to the bar being DTR. I went to the bar being Joe Milton and just going all in. Let's chuck the ball down the field and look impressive here, Jeff.
Or it doesn't have to be DTR. It could be Caleb Williams. That's the same person to Jeff.
Yeah, fancy DTR, was that his name?
Is Zesty DTR. Listen, Tim is hyper offended because I heard, I think it was on just a clip on Twitter from Chicago radio where someone called Caleb Zesty DTR. And now Tim is attaching that quote to me and Caleb. That's fine. Caleb's okay. It's fine. I'm sure Bears fans are still a little panicked. But my prediction for the Jets, I think the Brian Flores, Josh McCown combo. That's who I think is going to be the head coach of the Jets.
I don't hate that.
That's not terrible, but taking two guys from the Vikings, didn't the Falcons just try this with the Rams and they got the absolute biggest duds possible?
Yeah, but that's how it works. That's just how it goes.
That's okay. The Jets could have, let's see. I mean, Ron Rivera has already interviewed. I saw Bobby Slowick was one of the names, the world's worst offensive coordinator. Arthur Smith is an option. Matt Nagy. There's some real heroes on this list, Tim.
Well, I don't think Arthur Smith is that bad of an option. And what I like about Flores is that he has AFC East experience.
So does Rex Ryan.
I just bully Tua by looking at him.
There are names here that I would be very frustrated with. There's names here that I would be indifferent about. Rex, I wouldn't be upset with, but it's not my ideal choice.
You would accept that?
I'd accept it, sure.
You don't think you'd be so far behind the rest of the league?
I don't know.
Rex Ryan.
I don't know.
You know how long he's been removed?
Been 8 years. So that depends who we brought along with him to call the offense, I suppose. Or maybe he's just going to be the CEO this time and have somebody else call his defensive plays. Like
He's
he's
not
just
a
like,
real candidate. What are you even talking about?
you say that, but I don't put anything past this team.
That's true. I
This is
I
he
agree with
represents the glory days. He represents like one of the top
Glory
5
days.
defenses of the decade. Well, he went to back-to-back AFC Championship games. When you haven't been to the playoffs in 15 years, that is your glory days.
Yeah,
I'm
all of
sorry.
that got him the respect of getting an interview. He's not getting the job.
I wouldn't think so. He would not be my pick or guess. I think that Flores is a very likely candidate. I think Josh McCown is a very possible candidate. They might turn it over to him.
I think it's
we'll see.
impossible to hire the coach unless you know what's going on with Rodgers. If Rodgers is
I think
there,
the GM should be hired first.
I agree, but if Rodgers is still there before any decisions have been made, like you hire the GM, figure out what's going on with Aaron Rodgers, and if Rodgers is there, I don't think you're going to attract any good candidates.
I mean, Brees Hall was out there today basically campaigning for Aaron Rodgers.
That's
Okay.
great.
So
Which made
you
me think maybe the things are turning a little bit in the room. Maybe the last month or so, we were like, you know what? We could do worse.
So there's a lot of speculation that just the notion of you guys interviewing Vrabel made Kraft act decisively and
Maybe.
like premeditated. But I saw today someone says if you want to get ahead of Kraft and the Patriots with Vrabel, you offer Vrabel like GM and coach.
You could do that. I wouldn't be opposed to that either. I think I said that like 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago on this show.
I don't
Even as GM?
I don't think that
Sure, why not? How
I
much
think,
worse is he going to do than some other person?
Well, I mean, Brick would still be the shadow GM anyway, so it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But I just think having a GM/head coach in football is a terrible idea.
Yeah, it usually doesn't work out,
I
but
agree.
like if that's the price you got to pay, then like I'm willing to pay it.
Suppose. So Jags fired Doug Peterson. Gerard Mayo is gone. I saw Grubbs got fired as OC in Seattle, and the Bears have a head coaching vacancy. Geoff, do you expect any other teams to fire their coach?
So we're still waiting on the Raiders. The Giants announced everyone's coming back.
Miami did too.
The Dolphins announcing that the GM's getting to keep their job. Balky, Greer, Ballard, the acceptance of and don't get me wrong, I say this like I see the light now. I Tom Telesco for 11 years. The acceptance of mediocrity from that position, like long term, win nothing, be rewarded for it. Fucking wild. Fucking wild. So that'd be my takeaways. Is a lot of the GMs surviving, mainly Trent Baalke. That is crazy. Who'd have thought he could survive it? And if you know a Jaguars fan, they wanted Baalke gone more than Peterson.
Do you
I mean,
think
they obviously wanted Peterson gone, but Baalke had to go to anyone who cares about the Jaguars.
Do you think Shad Khan just thinks it's Baalke from Perfect Strangers, so he keeps him employed? He's like, this guy cracks me up.
Maybe. I do expect Pierce to be fired.
Then he'll
I
interview for
think
the
I
Jets.
do. I think there's a Brady influence there. He's not like he's involved. He's gonna want to be part of a cycle.
Yeah.
Maybe he wants to delay it a year, but I could see that. Until we're told he's staying, I would lean Pierce will be fired.
Tim, what do you think the odds are on Vrabel to the Patriots if you had to set the line?
Minus 110.
Okay,
More.
so it's like a coin flip then.
No, because I think there are other teams that are like, I think Jacksonville could back up the Brinks truck to him, and I think that would be an incredibly attractive job in an incredibly attractive division. I think the Patriots are definitely the favorites, but they've got to do their interviews as well. And like there will be other NFL teams that I think will be willing to offer him a lot of money and some cachet, and he would surely be interested in listening.
I think the odds would be much higher. If you've read Inside the Tea Leaves over him, leaving Tennessee and some other things, one of the big gripes was last year that on the Titans bye week, he went to New England, watched the game in Kraft's box, made public comments like, you Patriot fans, I know it's not going great, but you know what you have here, it's not like this anywhere, and to cherish it. I expect Kraft has to do the glad hand some minorities. Sadly, that's how the rules make you do it. If there's someone you truly want to hire, And I don't believe if you want to hire someone like Doug Vrabel, you need to put on a show and dance.
Mike Vrabel.
Oh, what did I call him?
I don't know. The Jets are probably going to hire someone named Doug Vrabel. And they'll be like, we got
Doug.
Vrabel. It's Doug.
I don't know. Does Vrabel really want to inherit a massive QB controversy with his NFL team? Because that's what's going to happen if he goes to the Patriots.
But I don't think Vrabel is going to like Trent Baalke makes it to me like you're not going to get Mike Vrabel. He'd want to come there. And
Baalke seems like a very wounded animal at this point who basically has nothing left. Like no lives left. So
but no one likes him. He doesn't work well with any. Like there's just, I mean, maybe, but Vrabel's going to want to get his own shit going on the ground. Whoever hires Vrabel, he will not be the GM, but it'll be like Jim Harbaugh-esque. Like he is the there's a GM by title, and then there's like a co-GM, like a Sean Payton, who's like truly just got his hands in on everything, even if he's not the GM. Like that will be Vrabel.
Like, yeah, I agree, and I want Vrabel, but like it's not like Mike Vrabel's won like 5 Super Bowls as a head coach or something. Like I think he's a very good coach, but he's not Newt Rockne 2.0. Like I'd like to have
Ryan Tannehill.
I'd like to hire him.
Yeah,
I'd like to have him, but let's not pretend like he's reinventing the NFL.
And let's not pretend the Ryan Tannehill success is solely on the shoulders of Mike Vrabel. I mean, that actually was Arthur Smith, and that was probably only accomplished
And
through
LaFleur
having a good offensive line, and B, having Derrick Henry.
Yes, Derrick Henry's a big part of all of this. Derrick Henry probably made Vrabel's reputation and got Tannehill paid. If we're trying to single out the force to which created all of it, it was probably Derrick Henry. But to Tannehill, LaFleur, too, big part of that.
I mean, Vrabel punted in the playoffs, fourth and an inch.
That was so bad
on the other team's side of the field. Like, let's not pretend like bringing Vrabel in is like the solution to all your problems when he is a run the ball first, play defense, and never go for it on fourth down guy.
No, you need a culture shift. Like you're not even. You guys need a building that operates.
We can handle that. We need that, but not every franchise does.
The culture shift, I think, is the big thing. It's like when we talked about how good this millennium, who are the best coaches, and we always do mention Mike Tomlin in that conversation. But the sneaky thing is, like an actual X's and O's in-game coach, Mike Tomlin's kind of terrible, and game plan wise, kind of terrible. He's just great at setting a culture, getting the most out of his players. I've put Vrabel on the Tomlin track. Like it's a guy I would want to be my head coach, but I can also see him making some really terrible decisions too. And you'd be like, the fuck, man?
I think Tim kind of said it best. I could see why he's the favorite, but you look at his resume, it's not like if you don't get Mike Vrabel, like, oh, we just lost the greatest coach. How will we ever find a guy like Mike Vrabel?
He's the poor man's Dan Campbell.
Yeah, in a lot of but is Dan Campbell that guy too without Ben Johnson? You take Ben Johnson off the Lions, and how does their offense actually look if he's not designing the plays?
Oh, I don't think he has much of a hand in the offense. So obviously, well, first he brought the right guy in, so he gets some credit for that. You have to bring somebody new in, but you talk about a culture change guy. Dan Campbell's got that, except that he actually uses some advanced numbers in his thinking. So
yeah, Dan Campbell reminds me of Joe Madden. I'll continue to go to the hill with it, where he doesn't actually know what's going on, but he trusts the people above him that they know what's going on, and he listens to them. Sometimes that's all it takes. And that's all Joe Madden did. Joe Madden got all this credit for being like a super genius, and he comes out, he's like, yeah, the people above me are just like, hey, just do this. And he's like, so I did it.
Yeah, but that's not a Weekend at Bernie's situation, though, where the people are just moving his arms.
Yeah, but you need to be able to put your ego aside as a coach to be like, no, maybe I don't know best. Maybe what is best is I'll have my influence on everything, culture-wise, coaching people up, and the know-how to run these teams and put guys in the right position to succeed, coach them up. But I also know that I'm not the expert, 10 out of 10 on every single part of being a coach, that maybe there are other people in the organization that I should listen to, and I will trust them that they're better at this thing than I am, so I'll trust them. And most
I'm not trying to diminish Campbell in this comment, but it seems like all thought and logic are just out the window, and it is what is the most aggressive thing I can do? I'm doing that all the time. and like they have not deviated from that, and it's worked wonders.
But I think that's an organizational philosophy. Maybe it's not. Maybe that is the Dan Campbell philosophy, or maybe they when they hired Dan Campbell, they had what they wanted to do analytically, strategy-wise, and they had the perfect match. When they met with Dan Campbell, it's like, hey, let's give this guy the job. He wants to do what we want to do. But
he wants to chew people's kneecaps off.
But he's no different than the guys like when the online poker boom happened, and then you'd see like the Tom Dwans of the world sit on like your TV poker game, and you had your normal like, hey, we're gonna raise like 3 times. Yeah, I'll check back, you'll check back, and this guy's just like all in, re-raise. That's what Dan Campbell has basically done with his offense and the game calling strategy that the Lions have, and it's worked out wonderfully. If everyone did the same thing, it wouldn't work, but he's still the only one really doing it, and he won't. If it doesn't work, he's not too big of a pussy not to do it again. That's what happened to Brandon Staley, Geoff. That ruined him.
Well, a lot of things happened to Brandon Staley.
What happened to him is he was doing the right thing. It didn't work. He got killed for it, and he became a fucking coward.
Happened to Ron Rivera too.
Yeah. Like, you need to be able to push through that criticism and keep doing the right thing. Because, the whole thing is it's not going to work every single time. It's just going to work most of the time, and it's going to be a huge advantage. Like, Campbell could have went into a shell after how last season ended, and he didn't. He kept on coming out and doing the thing he's supposed to do, and it's still working now. It's just not going to work every time.
Yep.
Tyreek quit the Dolphins, too. That must make you happy.
Wasn't that glamorous?
I'm going to maybe I'll be apologist. There are some stuff already linking Tyreek to next year's Chargers.
Or the Jets.
Some of the offshores had them as a favorite. I don't even know that
well,
that's
we should
the right
get into
move.
that game, Geoff, because we'll talk about the Chargers here. You enjoy this week of being in the playoffs, whatever. The expectations for you next year are going to be so high after being a team that was favored in the first round of the playoffs. You are going to be this year's Jets.
Good. The standard
People are
is
going to
the
be
standard.
picking you to win the Super Bowl next year.
No,
like
last year's
pick.
Jets didn't make the playoffs and didn't set a new culture tone.
You're going to be like the Texans from this year, then, where
That's
people are
true.
going to be. You're going to be the trendy pick to win the Super Bowl next year. So
We've
enjoy
been that
still
a few
flying under
years
the
ago.
radar. Enjoy flying under the radar, because as soon as this season ends, the next breath people take will be this Chargers team next year. You watch out. They're
Okay,
breaking
but guess
that
what,
cheap
Tim?
streak. They're going.
Guess what, Tim? Guess what, Tim? That's the fucking plan, you idiot. That's the plan.
Okay, then
When
don't
you
you
bring in
When I put air in your
time,
tires in 5 months' time, don't you dare scream
But-
into that microphone
Are you?
that
But hear
I'm
me out.
giving you unfair
Are you?
realizations.
But hear me out. That's the plan. Like, that is the plan. We win 5 games. We brought in the new coach. We set the culture. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I'm already hearing it right now, and it gets me excited. Although
Get tickets for Santa Clara then
me
next
out,
year.
hear me
Get
out,
your
because-
hotel room booked.
Listen, I'm not trying to talk down what you're saying, because I hear it from other people. Like, there are people that tell me, like, the Chargers right now are probably as bad as they will be for 5 years.
Yeah.
Right. That being said, I think what people don't realize is, like, knock on wood, this team, incredible turnover margin, like insane how little we gave the other team the ball, how much they were able to take it away, but mainly like what the injury luck that this team has had. Everyone is in house for this week. We didn't have any like even mid player go down for the season pretty much. Oh, Asante Samuel, but that's an attitude thing. I think we kind of kicked him off the team. You haven't even heard about that. We got 5th round rookies.
Even
holding
when
up.
you conceded on national TV, 4 weeks ago when you called the season over.
Well,
when I thought Herbert was injured.
Yeah, you're not just he was slightly
Hold
injured.
on
so that
a
was
second,
it.
though. What
White
are you
flag
getting?
went up.
Yeah,
White flag
but
went up.
I
the
think
pole.
I think you are misunderstanding like what is happening with the like. That's the plan.
No. He's trying
paid
to
for the
cover up that
coach.
he actually quit on his team. You were saying that if you thought Herbert was out for the year, and you thought the season was over, which it would have been if Herbert was out for the year.
Yeah, you try to put me in your ugly light. That won't work. But that's part of the plan. Like, build it, and then next year build out those rooms, and come for the Chiefs' head. That's the plan. That's the plan. Will they succeed? My love life with this team says no. But yeah, of course we're gonna build on this goddamn year. That's what we're gonna do. So I relish that. You telling me like be afraid of it? Like, no, that's what I crave. Now, when things go wrong a little next year, will I be like angry? Yes. When things went wrong this year, was I angry? No. I was like, whatever. Like, they didn't have a quality win this year, Tim. And I don't count beating Denver twice. Like, those
Okay,
are
I
nice
do.
wins. I wouldn't really call them like high quality wins. Next year, if they don't have quality wins, that will be like a thing. You can get away with it for a year. We won 5 games last year. Who gives a shit about quality? We have 11 on the board. Next year, the wins will have to be of a quality nature. So, like, I don't disagree with anything you say, but you say it like someone whose expectations are dog shit and whose team is in the dirt. Like that's what the league is. Come, I want a target on my back. You think the targets can be on my back? I'm in a conference with Mahomes, with Allen, with Lamar,
Bo
with
Nix.
Burrow. I'm still the fifth fucking wheel. I'm still the fifth wheel.
Before we
God,
get
we might.
Before we get to the games, I do want to point out that the Custy Awards voting is going to open very soon. I have a tease for you, Geoff. Do you want to know what one of the nominees for most egregious claim is this year?
Just lay it on me.
Martial arts. Tim claimed he could easily achieve being a black belt in a variety of martial arts disciplines. He's just scared of being injured.
I don't remember when he said
I don't
it.
remember saying that.
Yeah, that's your shtick now.
Apparently.
You're on the show on Sunday.
I
don't
know.
remember
This is the
saying I'd
second
be a
thing. I
good
don't
soldier. You
don't
bragged
remember
about-
saying it.
You bragged about you'd be good. You'd be a good soldier. You bragged about it.
I think I said I would be good at eating a soldier's meal. I don't ever remember saying I would be a good soldier because I don't think I would be.
So you don't remember any of it,
Farmer,
but
contractor.
hold on.
There's nothing you say you wouldn't excel at.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be a good soldier. I don't think I'd be a good martial artist.
Well, maybe you shouldn't say that if you don't think it.
I think if I had started from being a little kid in a discipline and wasn't afraid of getting hurt, I might have been okay, but I don't know if I'd ever be a black belt.
Then why did you say that you would be?
I'm not saying I didn't. I'm saying I have no memory of it, and if I said it, I disavow.
How about Geoff? Tim predicted he could easily live to be 118 years old.
Well, I would reject the easily part, but I think I could do
you
it.
said easily.
I think I
mean-
could do it.
Unless science lets us know that like the preservatives in our food like create like this
Preserve your life.
shield that like create this like force field around you.
Like
then-
aspartame could just preserve you an extra 60
Yeah.
years. We're golden.
Exactly. I'm sorry. I'm still caught up on like only like like of course once you play well, it's time to go. It's time to go. It's time to deliver in the future years. I don't know
Okay.
what team you
All right.
cheer for.
Well, you do know. And when people start putting air in your tires next year a lot,
course
you're
they
not
are.
you're not allowed to complain. is what
I
I'm saying.
know they're going to.
Okay. And
We're
so if
gonna
I say
the
nice
plan
things,
is to level up. But what do you think, Paul? Like Paul knows this. Like the Bills 2-3 years ago showed signs of life, and then ever since it's been seasons with expectation and failed dreams. And then this year people were down on them, and they seem to have over delivered. So like, yeah, you don't get like to chase the dragon. You're not just gonna pull a Rams and go from 4-12 to Kurt Warner in a Super Bowl. Like there is a pathway, and we got to travel it, and we'll probably get knocked down in the next couple of weeks.
And it
But
was
like I said,
and it was more sticky
we
than
are the
ever this
storm.
year. There was only 4 new teams who ended up in the playoffs, starting with your Los Angeles Chargers. Geoff, they are 3-point favorites on the road in the Houston Texans Bowl, which is the early game on Saturday. This is a tough scene here. I mean, who wouldn't like the Chargers here, Geoff? Can you spell out the case where they don't cover and or lose this game?
yeah, of course, historically, we've seen the downtrodden division winner rise up wild card weekend. Historically, you shouldn't just blindly pick on them. There's actually someone I wanted to see who they picked in this game because I was really hoping they were on the Texans just for a fade, potentially. But the issue as to how the Chargers won't win, the Texans have a really good pass rush. Will Anderson is a stud. Hunter is good. Singletary on the back end can cause some trouble. The Chargers offense stagnates. They get into kicking field goals, and they're not getting bailed out with a turnover on the other side. I mean, it's there's a way. I would say I've been told this Texans offense is really bad. Their offensive line struggles as much as anybody with like exotics and stunts, and when they have to do like switch ups, and that's all we do. That's like the Jesse Minter shit. So we are going to confuse the hell out of them, and I'm nervous as shit. Tim's talking about next year. Like I what I don't like about this game is that for the first time in the whole calendar year, I feel a sense of an expectation. And the whole year I went without it, nothing. And now like I expect something to happen. I want something to happen. We're favored in a game which will set up, even though I will die on my sword. Anyone who knows me knows all I want would be a chance to play Kansas City. And maybe that's all they want compared to who the other teams are. But like it would just be like destiny. I want it so fucking bad. I want it so bad. We blew that game in Jacksonville. We were going there. And I don't believe we'll win anything until it's over. I am so broken. So I'm scared. I'm broken. I don't like that the game is early because it like, fuck, this is embarrassing to admit, but it just doesn't set up well. Like, at least if the game was Saturday night, I can end on my own terms. You know, I have to be a little responsible for other people and respectful of other people. And it's a playoff game. And I wouldn't give you the recipe because I wouldn't want you to get sued. But when it ends ugly, like, I just want an elephant tranquilizer myself. So that's what's on my mind, is making sure I have supplies for the elephant tranquilizer. Some are harder to get than others, but that's just the mind of a crazy person. Apparently CJ
Geoff.
Stroud is horrible these days, so we'll see.
I feel like one of Houston, the Rams, maybe even two, like Houston, Pittsburgh, or the Rams. I feel like two of those three teams cover this week, Tim. I'm just not sure who it's going to be. Like, everything's not going to go to plan here.
You wouldn't think so. I wanted to take the Texans in this game. I thought about it. I turned it over in my head a lot in the last few hours, and I just can't. I can't get to it. I can't get to a spot where I think that the Texans' offense will score enough points to win, and the Chargers will play slot. I think the only way the Chargers lose is if they're sloppy. And Geoff sort of alluded to that in his peroration on the game. That if the Chargers just play if they play mistake-free football, I don't think the Texans are going to beat them. Yeah, I think this is just a prelude to the game next week, where I'd be far more excited to see the Chargers. I don't think the Chargers are going to be that challenged in this game. They certainly could lose it. It's an NFL playoff game, and nothing is. But I don't
What do
think
you mean
they're
not
that
challenged?
I don't know how much the Texans
we're
really
gonna
have
put
for
on
you.
a show. We're gonna get out and they're not gonna come back. Like, what do
I
you
think
mean?
of all of the games,
Oh dear God.
outside of the Baltimore Pittsburgh game, I think this is the game with the highest potential to be a rout. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. Crazy things can happen all the time. But if you told me one of the games this week are going to end 38-13, I'd have said Baltimore over Pittsburgh or the Chargers over the Texans. I think the Texans are the worst team in the playoffs. That doesn't mean they can't win. Bad teams win all the time in the playoffs when they're at home. But I just can't get there with the Texans. And I'm going to go with the Chargers, and we're going to tease the Chargers up.
What?
We're going to go through zero. This is a going through zero.
Oh my God! You're just ending me.
It's not the only time we're going through zero this time either. We're going through zero a couple of times on this teaser this week, because honestly, there aren't a lot of games. There aren't a lot of games I love this week.
I'm taking.
But I do like the Chargers.
I respect that Tim tried to find a way to like respect the home team, the 4 seed. He is a historian of what this spot means, and in the end, he still like couldn't get there. I don't like that you thinking it's going to be a potential rout.
I actually agree with him on that, because I can see the Texans showing it offensively and scoring like 6 points.
Mm-hmm.
But I can also
I agree.
But I could also see the Chargers offense looking like they did in the first fucking half against the Raiders last week and be like, "The hell is going on here? They're moving the ball and not scoring points."
Another storyline is those.
Yeah.
Sorry, the Raiders what?
The Raiders couldn't take advantage of the fact that the Chargers couldn't do anything. I think the Texans still wouldn't take advantage.
You
of
might
the Chargers.
you might be right, but I do think that listen, Stroud's been bad, and maybe he is bad, but I would still, if you give me Aiden O'Connell and or Desmond Ritter or CJ Stroud in a home game where the other team is just not being able to score points and you need to do something, like Mixon's still there, Nico's still there. They still have guys that can get you a long touchdown. And I think the Texans' path to winning this game is like 17-14. Something like that.
Yeah, and I still think the Chargers are susceptible to big plays. I mean, maybe like fans would tell me they've been tested all year. I don't know. That's still like a question. That deep ball goes in the air. Even saw it fucking Drake May. Like this stupid free play. Like I get that deep ball goes in the air. I still don't trust that we have sound operation.
I'm telling you, you're going to win by so much this week, and then people are going to be so on the Chargers going into Arrowhead next Saturday night.
This is like what happened.
So on them.
Do you know what now you're setting up to remind me of? The last time the Chargers won a playoff game, they went into Cincy, beat the shit out of them wild card weekend, and then you proclaim they had the 9 of the 10 best players in the game versus the Patriots the next week. I was excited. The spread was small, and the Patriots just beat our face in from the first snap, as they always do.
I remember.
So Houston for the coin and myself, the Chargers for both of you, at 3 being the number. The TGL, presented by SoFi, is golf's newest league. It's all indoors in an arena with high-tech meeting. High stakes meets prime time on ESPN. It's the 3-on-3 match play golf league that takes the competition of pro golf and places it inside the arena atmosphere. 6 teams featuring the PGA Tour's best players go head-to-head every single week. And we're talking players that get mic'd up, shot clocks, refs, never-before-seen holes, a moving green, the playoffs, the lights, the camera, all of the action all goes down. The first-of-its-kind arena golf league in Florida. And yes, you can bet on the TGL, which is the greatest part about this entire thing. You can stream it live on ESPN. So, what you need to do is tune in Mondays and Tuesdays on ESPN in January, find out the right odds, get a feel for how this is going to work, and go win some money. Remember, it's only on ESPN and ESPN Plus. This is TGL presented by SoFi. Keep up is golf. For the Amazon Prime game of the week Saturday night is Pittsburgh at Baltimore. This line is already up to 10 for Baltimore. 43.5 is the total. A reminder to everyone as well, code Mayo at Underdog right now will get you a deposit bonus of up to $1,000. And Geoff, I had Nez on the show. It's already out on the pod feed and the video feed where he talks me through the playoff best ball strategy. Here's a little sneaky thing for you. Chargers guys are good picks.
Ooh. Listen, the Chargers, they've opened it up, right? The thing is, last few games, Raiders, Patriots, Herbert has just stood there, just picked his piss missile he's wanted to toss. And honestly, they've looked like handoffs, like 20 yards down the field. That's how money they've been. Texans going to get us off our spot. I need running Rose Bowl. Justin. I do. That's what I need.
Perfect. That's great. Use code Mayo at Underdog, and you get yourself a deposit bonus of $1,000. You can use that bonus money to draft your teams. $25 per entry in the big contest on Underdog right now. $200K to the winner. So if you think you know anything about football, that's great. You should check out the strategy show to see how to optimize your drafts to get in the running. As Nez pointed out to me, at least half of the people doing these drafts have no concept of what you're actually supposed to do. So it's actually one of the easiest tournaments to return money. So code Mayo at Underdog right now. Get that bonus. I'm going to take Pittsburgh. Tim, I think their defense can show up enough to slow Baltimore down, even if maybe they could win. I don't think they're going to win.
I don't agree.
Do you think Flowers is playing?
That I don't know.
I don't.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't care. Like the Steelers are, they're dead. Sometimes I've quoted to you before that line from Hemingway in Death in the Afternoon that the bull was already dead. He just didn't know it yet. That's who the Steelers are. They're dead. They've been dead for a month. They've got no life. They got the wrong quarterback under center. They're going to lose. I think they're done for. Tease the Ravens down. He was 10. I don't care. Tease them down. I don't think this has got much potential. If the Steelers' path to victory is the same as the Texans, it's got to be 16-13 to win. I don't see it. I think, again, Baltimore rolls. I think Saturday's going to be a boring day of football.
I see. I disagree. I mean, that's what I would bet on. I'd bet on the 10, Geoff. Pittsburgh's D looked good against Cincinnati. They were able to slow them down. That's been one of the more prolific offenses. And we've seen Lamar struggle against the Steelers in the past. He didn't the last time they played. He played awesome. And if that happens, they're going to win by like 38 points. But you ratchet up the pressure. It's the playoffs all of a sudden. Tomlin's got his bag of tricks that he's going to pull out where, I don't know, like trip someone on the sidelines and no one seems to notice and something happens. And Pittsburgh almost won that game against Cincinnati somehow. And they were horrible the entire time.
The Bengals lose to everybody. Or try to lose to everybody.
But still, like, Pittsburgh had no business being in that game.
No, they didn't.
And then they were there.
Baltimore is such a better class of opponent.
Offensively, they're around the same. Now, defensively, yes, that Baltimore's probably going to put
better
that,
quarterback.
But that's not the part of the game that really matters to me. If they can shut them down offensively, they can keep it within 10.
Maybe. I mean, it's not impossible. It's an NFL spread. I'm just saying I think Pittsburgh is done for. They were like Philly last year. They're just finished. And just once you realize the team is finished, it's time to just get away from them.
I kind of lean like Tim, but maybe I have a bias because I got pretty quickly on the lines. I played what I'm sure is the very popular, already very chalky Ravens-Bills teaser.
Well, that teaser is looking a lot better now or then than it was now, because now it's 4-3 if you had to play it. When you played it, it was probably like 0.5 point and 2 or something. That's a lot of value.
Yeah, so I don't know. That was the first decision I made. I honestly don't trust Pittsburgh. I don't really see. My eyes are telling me they don't have the path to actually compete outside of their voodoo. I lean with Tim. Dead fish, just roll them out of the ring.
Yeah, I mean,
prove me wrong. Entertain me Saturday.
They could be dead fish offensively. You're right, but I was impressed with their defense on Saturday evening to be able to generate a turnover or two, limit. Like that's what you're going to have to do, and that's what they did the first time against the Ravens. They won the turnover battle. I mean, they won the game. I don't even need them to win the game. I just need them to stay within 10. Like make it 28-20 or something with a late touchdown. That's what I'm going for here. Let's go to Sunday, where the Broncos and Bo Nix, the legend, are taking on Josh Allen, the Iron Man Josh Allen, in 9-point favorites in Buffalo. I seem to be the only one who thinks that Denver can win this game, Tim.
They can win.
I feel like how you felt about the Chargers blowing out the Texans, I could most definitely see that with the Bills, where if things start going wrong and they do their thing where they get up 14-0 right away, it could just become 41-0 really quickly, and there's no answers for the Broncos. But the Broncos D shows up and Nix is running around. I could see this being a tight game, one that Bills fans have to sweat out.
Historically, the Bills don't blow these teams out in the first round. They let Pittsburgh hang around for way too long last year in a wild card game. They let the Dolphins with Skylar Thompson. They were losing for part of that game. When they had Phillip Rivers and the Colts on the ropes, they let the Colts hang around in that game for way too long. The Bills win these games in the first round, but they don't win convincingly. And so I am going to be taking the Denver Broncos to cover the number. I don't think they're going to win, but I think it's going to be like a 24-17 type of game.
Geoff, you had to pick a long shot winner here this week. Would you take Pittsburgh or Denver?
Can't believe I'm saying it. I think Denver.
Gotta be.
I don't believe it. I think I lean taking these points. I kind of just agree with a lot of things Tim says while having way more respect for the Bills than Tim does. I don't know. Peyton's just gonna have these little stupid boots and Nix is gonna complete his easy things and trusting him to throw it more. And I think the Bills, and I guess my tease, I think I'm going to have a moment of a bit of a sweat. I don't think this is going to be like a party. They might cover, they might pull away late, and all of that seems very probable, but forced to pick it on the true number, I'm going to lean Denver.
So that's three
weird.
Denvers. 3 Denvers, and a coin is taking Buffalo. So that's good news for Paul because the coin is the best picker of us all. But just the way that Denver's defense is set up, I could see how the Bills really do annihilate them in a weird way because everything they do well is not what the Bills need to do offensively. Like, who's Patrick Surtain going to lock down? Mac Hollins? Great. Congratulations. Like, I don't know if they have an answer to contain Josh Allen, which would become the biggest problem. It's like when we saw them play Baltimore earlier this year, they just had no answer for what Lamar was up to. Running around in the backfield, creating extra time, their defense couldn't hold. They need to be a defense that plays you up front, make sure you can't get those quick passes out, but the more that the play gets extended, the more their defense breaks down, especially at the back end. Like, I could see the Bills hitting some shots down the field,
Sure.
which isn't typically their game. It's just on the other side, I don't know if the Bills can slow down this offense, and maybe Bo.
Well, it's a rookie QB on the road.
I agree.
In the playoffs.
But the way that Bo Nix has been playing, quick passes, boots out, and just tosses to the side. If they can actually run, they've been able to run a little bit better the past few weeks. They can get that going, and you don't ask Bo Nix to do too much. He can catch you off guard, and he can just take off down the field for 50 yards 3 times in one drive somehow. I don't even know how that's possible.
Yeah,
But
it can unravel though quickly. It can unravel.
Yeah,
I'm picking
for
Denver,
sure.
but I could totally see
Yeah.
how the rookie QB gets overwhelmed
Of course.
in that stadium. It's nuts. Next thing you know, you're down 21-0, and it's over.
And Pat said it, like the Broncos defense, it's really good. It's really good. But against like 90% of the league where, the quarterbacks, are going to be in front of you and you're going to know where they're going to, their spots. Allen, like Lamar, like your great pass rush, he's got an ability to just negate it. And sure, they'll get home. They'll make a couple sacks. They're too good not to. But there's going to be just those back-breaking, like, 2nd and 14s, 3rd and 12s. Like, he does it in the same way Lamar and Mahomes does it. He does the same
You got to
things.
prevent it. You got to say, Josh Allen cannot beat me on the ground today. If he beats me if he carves me up in the air, then that's how I lose. But what cannot happen is I cannot allow Josh Allen to break contain and run for 2nd and 12s. I can't allow it. I won't allow it.
I mean, they got linebackers that might be able to
Make him throw it. He will throw the ball away. He's known to do that. He's been very good at avoiding it this year, but it's there. Just like Sam Darnold last night. It's the disaster is always waiting.
The thing about both Baltimore and the Bills, and talking about the games back to back, is like the sense of panic that will take over the stadiums if the games are not going well.
I think it's more prevalent for the Bills fans than it is for Ravens fans.
Oh, right, buddy. You're just
How delicious that would be. Oh, I
forget-
couldn't imagine.
the
Bills Reddit
Ravens
on
playoff
would be
exits.
so much fun. I might spend more time on Bills Reddit during the middle game on Sunday than I would watching this middle game on Sunday.
Well, this
if
has
they
to
lose that
happen
game.
first, Tim.
I'm just saying, I will spend more time on Bills Reddit during the Eagles Packers game than I will watching the
Tim
Eagles
will
Packers
jerk
game if
off
they lose.
to the cutaways, like Denver's up 10, 1 minute left. The cutaways of like the sad fans in the fourth quarter. Tim will be rubbing one out too.
All the dining room tables that lost their lives before this game were in vain.
I don't believe that's going to happen. I am just like, as a hardcore fan,
I don't either.
I know, like, I'd be in the game, I'd be like screaming so hard that first third down, and the second something worked against me, I would think like we're doomed, and I'd be like my fragile mental midget self,
not
and
again.
I think, yeah, exactly.
I forgot it's the playoffs and it's Josh Allen, and those things don't mix.
I'm including Baltimore. You are not including Baltimore in this, and don't get me wrong.
A little less, because listen to your arch rival, who you play year in, year out, and you've had some tough battles with, wouldn't be the same type of panic, I don't think.
Oh no,
that it would be.
I think it hurt more.
I think it would hurt more.
It would
The
hurt
rivalry.
different.
Imagine if the Jets hosted a playoff game and they lost to the Broncos in the first round, or the Raiders in the first round, or Miami came in and beat the Jets.
Yeah,
It's a different
touchdown
type
favorites?
of pain. It's
No,
a very
no.
different type of pain.
Okay, like maybe it's easier to accept it because that's like more of the reality of the NFL, and you'd make excuses. Familiarity, division. You guys
Yeah,
know
I
anything
would.
can happen in a division game, but it would hurt so much.
Oh yeah, it would ache, but Buffalo has such high hopes, and to have a team like Denver come in there and dash them, couldn't happen to a better team.
Okay.
Well, that brings us to the midway point of the show, which means it's time for a mini version of Cust Corner.
Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner, hee 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 hee.
Okay, I got a question for Geoff.
Mm.
Do you think it's the most offensive thing in the world to bring spring rolls to an event for people to enjoy? Do you think that's a problem? Do you think it's risible? Because I don't. And also, do you think it's such a bad idea that some people are grossed out by touching raw hamburger? And like part of the reason I'm sure that you can get pre-made burgers all over the place, frozen or raw, is because a lot of people don't want to touch ground beef because they don't like it. Do you think these are weird things, or are you with me that these are just normal positions that some people have accentuated for the sake of mocking you on air?
Okay. You spent a Cust Corner, maybe like week 1 or 2, talking about how much you loved ground turkey.
Yeah, I don't touch it with my hands.
So who you have people prepare it for you?
No, you just open the package and throw it into the wok, and then you just break it up with like a spatula and fry it on the pan.
Okay, sure.
Not
I don't
touching it
know.
with my fingers.
I mean, you don't even eat chicken wings with your fingers. So
I
that
don't
is
like to, but I can handle chicken wings. That's a different texture.
okay. Here's
The
the
raw
real-
meat is so gross.
And
Tim, I know you're not.
And hold on, just hold on one second. It's not that the spring rolls was a bad idea. It's just the spring rolls that you bought were the absolute nut
Yeah,
low.
That's. I don't want to offend you, Tim, but you
Go
bought
ahead.
like.
You should be honest.
Like, listen, you're like, this is my Jet Super Bowl. I'm gonna show up with some snacks, and you come in with store label,
Rolls.
spring rolls, like very low effort,
Low effort.
low end, yeah,
Low effort.
yeah.
I see.
Sorry,
I didn't.
sorry.
Sorry, I didn't cater it. I apologize.
No,
for all
maybe
my
a wheel,
shortcomings.
maybe a couple wheels. You know, the boys would have been happy with. A couple pizzas showed up knocking on the door. You like getting your, like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like the Walmart like house brand. You
But
know?
it isn't. But so what? What matters is, are they good?
No,
Not-
that was the
like,
whole
that's the
thing. Like,
only thing
they
that
were
matters.
edible, but you could have ordered in some spring rolls for everyone. Like, went and picked them up. You love that one Chinese place.
I did.
You love that Chinese place that you go to all the time. You could have got like 12 spring rolls from there.
But I brought spring rolls for everybody.
That's what I'm saying. You could have brought spring rolls from there for everybody.
But I didn't. I wanted to bring these ones.
Yeah,
These
because
ones are good. I like these ones.
you wanted to pay less than $10 for snacks for everyone.
And if you like them, that's good. Like, that's fine. If they're yummy, like, there's a lot of shit in the grocery store that I enjoy. I wouldn't maybe brag about.
But you
enjoying it,
might know that other people don't like that stuff.
yeah, and I wouldn't be like, I'm gonna get some snacks for the boys, and then like, I don't want to say you sent out you didn't send out a come hungry, but you were like, if your tummy's a rumbling, I got you.
Nor did I tweet out a photo of what I brought. I didn't like try to make it seem like I was bringing the world's greatest dish. I thought I was bringing a perfectly adequate snack
Yeah, fine.
to a hypothetical Super Bowl.
You know what
and
you did?
Other people
Low
thought
end,
it would be
low
really
end,
You
funny.
know,
low end,
you know
low
what you
end,
did?
low end,
You
not
said,
adequate, low end.
You said that you were coming to a party and you would pick up the soda, but you didn't bring Coke, you didn't bring Pepsi, you brought some weird off-brand
Oh,
to save the 49 cents. You brought Big 8 Cola.
I like Big 8 Cola.
You might like Big 8 Cola, Tim. No one wants to fucking drink it.
No, but I wouldn't bring Big 8.
But that's
because I know
what-
people
but-
don't like
but
it.
that's
I
what
thought
you just
people would like
did.
this. I thought people would like this, and the fact that 3 of the 4 people there gave it a passing grade tells me it was fine.
fine. Below
Jared,
adequate.
Jared, we'll go to you on this one. I mean, you were one of the ones that gave it a 5 out of 10 passing grade.
And as Geoff
Yeah.
knows from his days at the University of Western Ontario, that's a passing grade.
It is not a passing grade. 60 is a passing grade. It's a 5 out of 10. The batter, Pat, was the weirdest thing. The inside was fine. Tim said it was overly spicy. Didn't see that. It was
was
batter
spicy.
on the outside.
was not spicy.
You know what he
It
said
was
it was like
phyllo
on the show?
pastry.
Phyllo pastry wrapped in batter. Like it was like a double coating.
It needs to be crispy and hold up to the rigors of the air fryer,
Of the air fryer.
which I figured out on my own and got very little credit for.
You shouldn't get credit for
shit.
for doing things that like non-invalids can all do. That's
Yeah,
it.
like, do
I
you
got
get
out the
credit
plate and
for
put it
like
on
working
the plate,
a
and brought it
toaster?
out, and
You know what you don't get credit for? Cleaning up.
well, I brought the plates in.
Thanks.
You know,
Jeff, we asked him to bring the sauce in, and he's like, "Yep," and just sits down, grabs his food, and just, "Yep, let's go." Nothing for us.
didn't need sauce. It was already very saucy in the middle.
It really wasn't saucy. It was like chewy in the middle.
And Jeff, sources say that he didn't clean the air fryer after bringing this as well. So Jared had to clean the air fryer.
Interesting. And Tim doesn't even like lay the sheets down or anything, right?
No,
I don't know. No,
He raw dogs the air fryer.
That's, I mean,
Listen, it's not the sentiment.
At home games, it's fine.
It's
okay.
not the sentiment. The sentiment is very nice and very lovely, Tim. I do appreciate that. But in the future,
you have a funny way of expressing it.
My whole point, I mean, I'm sorry, you can't even enjoy my fucking one and done, which keeps the show on the air. And you can bring fucking $7 spring rolls and act like you're fucking Gandhi. Like, let's calm the fuck down.
They were $10.99.
No, then you got fucking ripped off. I just Googled them and said that they were $8.39.
Well, where I got them, they were $10.99.
Well, you should have shopped around for even cheaper.
And they said they were on sale for that matter.
You should have price shopped, like, you know, you're betting the games, best lines.
Like,
but I went in there to buy those specifically. I had a game plan.
But you need to realize that buying the cheapest thing possible might not be what everyone wants. It's not like a super big crowd pleaser.
I enjoyed them.
But everything that you enjoy might not be ubiquitous.
Well, okay, but I thought that others would actually enjoy these because I thought they'd like the spiciness, they'd like the different texture.
It wasn't spicy.
Of like phyllo.
Also, what you find spicy, no one else does.
Well, again, I think I have an average palate for these sorts of things.
I heard someone make the best like comment or analogy about you this past week.
Was it somebody you were fighting with in the comments?
Nope. Hey, listen, like I would never the person just anyhow. Where was I? Oh yeah, with you and the tipping and just wow, like the people really turned on you for that. And it was mentioned that if you were on like a 1-lane country road and you had this huge trailer and you weren't even going the speed limit and you noticed a collection of cars had piled up behind you, you wouldn't even pull over to let these people go by.
Why should I pull over if I'm doing the speed limit or around it on a road? Like, why did the...
Exactly. Why should I?
Yeah, why should I? Their time's not more valuable than mine. All our time.
But you're obviously not valuable. You won't lose any time by letting like 6 cars who want to go by you.
No,
and then you get to see. This is
they can wait for a dotted line. And
I love you
and
lane. Your sensibilities, but fuck, man, like I wouldn't trade you and your sensibilities for anything on the open market.
Not even Tanner McKee.
But I know that's. Like there's just a connector that's just off a little, I think. Okay. I got my own connectors off, but I'm just saying that proved it.
Well, campaigning is going to start beginning next week, Jeff. Are you prepared for that?
I believe that I feel pretty okay. I mean, obviously there's a chance that things can work against me. But if I didn't lose, if people want to, make me suffer a lifetime achievement award, that is possible. But Tim just puts it out there like time and time again.
Folks, we're going to be doing a live award show. Can you imagine how great of an award show it would be if live we gave Geoff that award, Most Insane, live and in person with everybody around? Can you imagine how extraordinary that would be?
Yeah, so,
you have
listen,
an opportunity to make a real lasting moment here. So please,
if that's what the people
lend your vote and vote Geoff.
If that's what the people wanted, I would graciously accept their choice. I feel like it would be a little manufactured because I don't believe I've earned it. But
yeah, you've been very well behaved this year.
If you do win, if you do win that award at a live show with the crowd, with everyone there, that there's 100% chance that the video equipment would fail and it would just be lost to time. Then we'd have to record it again and take a revote.
I could see that. That wouldn't shock me.
That's how the curse would be affected by the entire thing. But I
Much
will
like your claim that my dream of having the Costco storage space transmogrified into an apartment above Costco where there is no storage.
There is no storage. So when Geoff, when you sent that to Tim, the new like units that are above Costco. He didn't realize that was the unit that you lived in. He thought that was the storage unit.
No, it's like residential.
The size they were quoting for like square footage. Like, I don't even know if my armoire would fit in there.
Yeah, you know what? If you own an armoire, you're probably not in the running for the Costco super savings apartment. That's 100 square feet.
No, like where would I put my winter wardrobe? Honestly, where would I put it?
I told my wife about you being afraid to put things like under the bed for storage, and she even said even in those like oversized, like really thin, like Tupperware things,
Like totes, those big plastic totes.
yeah, something like that. Like you
No,
still
those belong in storage units. My bedroom is not a storage locker.
Well, it would be if you moved to this Costco place, it seems.
Well, I suppose it would be. One would have to own 5 of those apartments to live comfortably.
nice, Tim.
Let's
And
see.
people enjoyed. Did Bruce Wayne make his appearance at his New Year's party? Did he drop in or what?
No.
I'm just trying to see. 841 of them will be set aside to combat affordable housing in LA. That's for the one in Los Angeles, 800 units above a Costco. I mean, it actually makes sense. I'm actually shocked more Costcos haven't done this and got into it in the past. Because there's plenty of places, especially like around where you live, Geoff, where the bottom floor and the second floor is commercial use and then everything above it is a condo.
Yeah, that's coming. Seeming like more common than ever. Like grocery
Just like
store on
the place we stayed at in Montreal was similar to that.
Well, that was...
Not exactly, but sure.
No,
Tim.
that was a Greek restaurant that had like a floor above it where presumably the old owners used to live.
No.
That is not the same as an 800 apartment complex on top of a grocery store in a mall.
No, you're right.
Wouldn't you want to live in a place? Imagine if your condo was above a mall.
I'm telling you, it would be a dream come true.
There's some fascinating things about it, but the in and out just seems like you would hate that. Like I see, Pat, you've lived down here long enough. They got those towers, like on top of Real Sports at the Air Canada Center.
Oh, I would love to. I
you're
always
like-
wanted to live there.
But like, I guess if you don't own if you like are walking to most things or using transit, but the one time you need to get in or out of your building in a pinch and the game is either starting or ending, you would like be like, I can't believe I'm here. How did I put myself here?
Yeah, that would be relatively problematic. However, like if you had to get out in a pinch, like I didn't own a car in Toronto until I had kids. You couldn't have kids and like live down there and need to get somewhere quickly or even try to find parking in that spot. But I just would never drive anywhere. Like if you needed to get out of there in a pinch, you're directly next to the GO station and the subway. You can get anywhere you want within minutes.
Yeah, and you just walk a block and a half and get an Uber, like away from the foot traffic. So you're not, I guess. Yeah, there. Just talk through it. I can see what's cool about it. I could never do it.
One last thing. Blueski didn't make your biggest rivals list.
Oh my God!
You wanted it too much.
That's
no. You intentionally went out of your way to get it on the
that's
list.
crazy.
No,
that is crazy.
But Tim, do you know who's
Fine,
on it?
Fine. I don't know what was authentic. No, just give me a
The
second.
compiler of the list.
Well, no.
Just give me a second.
No, you don't
Just
get.
give me
You don't get. Tim has a heart out here. We have 3 games to do. We have 15 minutes to finish this off. But Michael,
at least
Michael Staley made the list. He's like the Doug of Rabel of this move.
Anyone? I mean, I'm so voting for that person. I'm just telling you right now.
I mean,
That
I
was
guess-
such bad behavior.
it is a one-off. It was a one-off. But I'll use this moment then to say, can you imagine being a sports fan, like loving sports and leaving Twitter for like whatever? Let's move on. That they should have been the rival. I guess if I wanted it too bad, the committee said we're not giving it to him. I'll respect that. I'll respect that. Not everyone gets to be on the ballot like you want on the ballot. I wanted someone else on the ballot, and he decided today that he doesn't want to be on the ballot.
Paul, yes, you were going to say Tim has been a great 5 minutes for you.
Yeah, but the thing is, we plan to push the shows up to Rumble.
So
And
this
I
is
feel
great.
like this type of discourse is going to get Geoff a whole bunch of fans on that new platform, which is bad for most insane for Tim. So it could,
Maybe.
You're gonna get a whole new crew. I think Jeff's gonna be a big.
Listen,
hit on
Tim
Rumble.
told me, you know why Tim's got to get out here quickly? He's going to celebrate Jan 6 with his buddies.
Oh, Jeff, you're not talking into a mirror, buddy.
I heard laughter
Yeah, like,
in the
what a terrible
background,
thing to
so
say.
That played.
What a-
I heard
What a
some off-mic
terrible thing to
laughter.
say.
That played. That hit someone.
Nobody
in the
would
room.
mistake if there was anybody on this show. People would think would be going out to celebrate Jan 6. I don't think they would think it was me. Sorry to tell you.
I mean, that vote
Sorry
Tim
to
actually
tell ya.
wins. I think that's probably the most lopsided poll Tim will ever win. is on
Anybody
that
listen
front.
to the last 3 minutes of this show? No one would put me on that foolishness.
Whatever. You don't. You think tipping is 10%? I heard you complaining about what tipping was when you were a kid or something.
I'm not even going down that road. I retweeted
Yeah, whatever. Once you
somebody's
gotta-
tweet.
Pardon?
I think I retweeted a tweet about it.
Yeah, you wish you didn't have to tip anyone. Go move to Europe.
Yeah, in an ideal world, things would look more like Europe when it comes to tipping culture. Yeah, I think that would be true. I think we could
But
completely
you don't
implement
even.
what Europe
okay,
is doing.
but you're trying. Like you're right. In a more holistic situation, maybe that would be better. But under the situation in which the people who are serving you your food are under the constraints, the realities on the ground is that tipping is actually very important to their livelihood, and you choose just not to participate, which is
I
weird.
do not participate. I tip 15% minimum every time.
What's your ceiling? If it's a barometer like 15 is the floor, what can they get up to?
No more than a
16?
box of scrolls.
Like
25.
what would someone what would someone based on
That's
what
the
we learned
ceiling.
about
That's
you,
the ceiling.
what would they have to do? They'd have to feed you grapes and fan you to get 25.
I don't know.
And,
you'd still ball.
and they'd have to make his one and done picks for him.
There's no that's not fair. Based on the puzzle pieces of this entire long-standing conversation, you can come here and say that 25 is in your range.
On the high end. It's the highest end, but it's there.
Okay, let's move on to the late set of games. We have Green Bay at Philadelphia. Philadelphia is a 4.5-point favorite. Cust doesn't think that Jalen Hurts is going to play. I happen to think that he is going to play. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I am. Philadelphia is my favorite side of any of these games, Jeff.
I got a big Super Bowl preseason future. We're here wild card weekend. I'm gonna bet this game, so I'm with you. I hope Jalen Hurts is healthy. I'm not freaked out about a Monday report. I think it's a nothing burger, but you'll scare the shit out of me in a day and a half. I promise.
Why? Tanner McKee is fine. That is not much of a downgrade.
Where's Mike White?
Mike White is a significant downgrade. Tanner McKee, who's played the last 2 weeks, who we've been nicknaming the Irish assassin here on the show, he's excellent. I'd be happy to go into battle with him if I were an Eagles fan.
What do you like about him? Like, it's fine. It's been cool.
He
Like,
seems like he's accurate. He seems like he throws a nice deep ball. He seems like he's confident in the pocket. I've seen nothing to make me think he wouldn't be a good player. So on the potential that he may very well play, I'm teasing the Eagles down. Teasing them down.
you did this wrong. If you think he's not going to play, you take the extra points, and then you'll have a lot of extra value by the time it's announced.
I'm teasing the Eagles down.
To one and to 1.5?
Yes.
Because Tanner McKee might play. So Jalen Hurts, that'd be
And
bad.
if he doesn't play, Hurt, I still think is slightly better. But at the same time, I get plus 1.5. I don't think the Packers are going to win the game.
Jeff, Christian Watson's out for the playoffs. I think that's a huge blow to their offense, even if it doesn't seem like he does much. It just doesn't function as well when he's not there.
Yeah, I heard you say that, and at first I disagreed, but when I heard you talking through it last night, it seems it'll be interesting to see how the defenses can then take care of the other guys when you don't have to respect what Watson can do. I don't cheer for guys to get hurt at all, but when I saw that was the matchup and I want to bet the Eagles, I would like whoever wins this game, though. Like, if the Packers win this game, I'll then be on here next week telling you they're going to make some real noise.
Like they're going to go to Detroit and beat them?
Detroit's going to eat them for breakfast. Are you kidding me?
I mean, that, yeah, I guess that would be a little too much noise, but I would, fuck, yeah, I don't know. Honestly, like, why do I even want the Chargers to get to the Super Bowl? Not that they could, but like to just lose, to get your ass kicked by Detroit.
Hey,
Have
I
a
did.
50 burger in the Super Bowl. That'll remind me of the last time the Chargers were in
And
the
you're
Super
also
Bowl.
not allowed to whine about losing the Super Bowl because people will be like, Detroit's never won either, Jeff, and you need to feel good for that fan base. And like, there will be nobody who will be like sympathetic to your pain because they'll be like, look, Detroit fans have been through so much. Aren't you in some way happy for their happiness? And like, that will like sting that much more. You better hope that you play somebody like Philadelphia in the Super Bowl.
I'm picking Philly.
Oh yeah,
I'm
Philly's
assuming the quarterback is going to play. I, the thing that's scaring me about this game is the spread, because I would make it bigger. And anytime I'm wrong about a spread, I have lost enough money over the years to know it's probably me who's wrong. And I know enough about how the sausage is made to know, like, I'm certainly not smarter than the people setting it. So I'm always nervous about that.
Good news for Philadelphia. That's a round to Green Bay, coin included. That brings us to Washington and Tampa Bay. Tampa by 3. Tim and I talked this out on the Sunday show, Geoff, but were you surprised that this was the number 1 pick game of the week for NBC to get it?
I actually would. I think if we did deep dive it, I don't think they had first pick.
Okay.
I don't think there's a chance they had first pick. If I had to guess, I honestly believe the streamers get first pick. That would be my guess. I think Amazon got its pick. If you saw also when they were like advertising Wildcard Weekend without matchups, they were very like network slotted. It was like, we are on our, even though it worked out how I think a lot of people thought it would based on when networks would host the games. I think they got first pick and they took Lamar versus the Steelers. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but that's what I think.
I think this is the best game. And so maybe that's the reason that NBC ended up with all the other options if that one was on the table. I would have taken Green Bay and Philadelphia, but this game is shaping up to be a ton of fun, which probably means it won't be fun whatsoever by the time we get there. But 50.5 is the total. I could see Washington winning, but Tim, I really want to see the Bucs move forward here because I think they could pose some problems to the good NFC teams where I just don't think Washington can.
It's the one game this week I still haven't made a pick until it comes out of my mouth here in a minute. There's so many reasons to think this Washington team's offense should be able to score enough to take Tampa out. But like in the end, I don't like picking rookie QBs on the road. I think it's just a recipe for disaster. I can take Bo Nix to cover a really big spread, but if I'm picking +3 here, I'm really picking the Commanders to win the game because it's a push pretty much if they don't cover. If they lose by 3, if I'm picking them +3, I really got to think they're going to win. And I don't. I think Tampa will win. I guess. Meet the Bucs. I think the Buccaneers have more veteran players. They've been through this playoff run a few times with both Baker and with Brady. This team's won the division like 3 straight years, 4 straight years, something. Tampa's just a more practiced hand at this spot. So I think that experience will get them over the hump. In Washington, I don't know if they're happy to be where they are. But this is a real treat to be here. I don't think they're going to win.
I think that Tampa Bay is being disrespected on this line, Geoff, because Jaden Daniels is fun. He's exciting. People want him to win, and everyone's just like, man, Tampa kind of sucks, but they win games. So I'm going to take them to cover the 3. I thought this would be 4.5. 3, it's not a gift because they can most definitely lose because that defense is not good. We saw they almost just lost in New Orleans, but you got to watch Baker firsthand. When it's at like a good opponent, Duke can just sling it everywhere. And the thing that Tim talked about earlier, like when you need a first down, like can Denver contain Josh Allen and make sure that Josh Allen doesn't get away? When the game was on the line against the Saints, although that Granderson guy was everywhere in that game, but when the game was on the line and they needed first downs and nothing was going right, what did Baker do? He put his head down on like 3rd and 13 and picked up like 20 yards. He did it like 3 times in the game and just selling out his body. And just Washington's defense also sucks, which is not super helpful. Although we might get a Lattimore Evans reunion here matchup, which is just a nice sub storyline.
I agree with everything you said. I don't really have a strong opinion on this game, sort of like Tim. I figured I'd when we talked about it, I'd come to make that decision. Baker's like willingness to die for me to hit a bet would be a factor. I like you think this line might be a little small. I'm scared shitless though. The secondary injuries on Tampa are bad. And they, I believe, only have gotten worse. But what I want to happen is Baker Mayfield to win this playoff game. So I'm going to lean on the small number. Is dangerous. I feel like that's all of us. And sorry, Kenny, you'll enjoy the win.
Well, the coin is on Washington, so that's good for Kenny. And listen, Daniels winning would be awesome to watch him go into Philadelphia the next week or go into Detroit, wherever it is. Yeah, I mean, you never know. You never know what can happen here in the back end. But yeah, it's probably going to be Detroit if Green Bay doesn't win. But either way, it would be, just seeing Daniels go forward would be fun. It'd be, hey, here's a rookie. He's playing well in the playoffs. We can hype him up, and it would be awesome because he's an exciting player. It's just, Baker dude's going to grind you, man. He's not going to quit. And he's been great. He's been awesome. Like when we see the MVP ballot at the end, it's going to be a bunch of votes for Josh, a bunch of votes for Lamar. I think Baker's going to be third.
The 2-year running storyline in this league that I love more than any is Baker Mayfield. Like, it's just incredible. I love ball. I love what he has done. He just, like, watching him is fun. It is entertaining to watch it. Just of note, I believe I like what they did with the Mike Evans thing. I think while it was dangerous, that once they pull it off, I feel like it does so much for the locker room and like just everything that Todd Bowles and a culture that he's trying to instill there. The Saints had to be a part of it in some like ninkwat head nod way, because if I'm on the other side, like we are putting 11 guys on you. And if you want to run the other side with someone else for an 80-yard touchdown, like you can do that. That's on you. You'll probably slide after 14 yards, but you're not doing that on my watch, which makes me think the Saints are like, go ahead and do it.
That's where I came on it too. When the guy didn't try to tackle him right away and let him get like the extra few yards and then let someone else tackle him, like there had to be like a wink type thing.
Well, I don't think there was any sort of actual collusion. I just think the Saints are like, whatever. We don't really care one way or the other.
I guess, but if I'm on the like, it's 11-on-1, and you could do whatever the hell else you want with this play, but you're not on me like pulling that off. On the flip side, I fucking love like that Todd Bowles did that. Just watching it, you saw how everyone reacted. That's a moment, right? You're the fucking Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like that's a great moment for them and their franchise. It was beautiful. So good on them.
Last game, Minnesota at the Rams. It's down a point already. Its Rams are a 1.5-point dog coming off basically a bye week against the Vikings, who finally looked bad, and Darnold finally looked bad against a defense that was rejuvenated. It was a big spot for them, but had not been a great defense nonetheless. And I think that the Rams can actually get to Darnold a little bit more. We saw a few. It's not that we got the blueprint, because if Darnold converts one of the 8 chances that they had to throw into the end zone early in the game and score a touchdown, that game is probably way different in that spot. But we've seen this game already this year, Tim, and the Rams won this game. I'd feel bad for Minnesota if this is how it ended. I really would. I want them to beat the Rams.
Yeah. All their losses were to like the Lions and the Rams. And that's the only 2 teams you lost to all year, and you didn't even get out of the first round of the playoffs. That's bad beat. I mean, Van Ginkel just held on to the ball last night. They might win the game. Like, but anyway, they deserve to lose. You can't go into the red zone and not convert that many times. The Rams are definitely the sharp side, but I have to take the Vikings. I'm not willing to give up on them. I mean, I'm not ignorant of the fact that I talked up Sam Darnold quite nicely there on last week's show, and he was just pitiful on Sunday, like in the biggest spot of the year. Like, I'm aware of that happening. I think the Vikings have enough talent that they're really going to be able to shut down and Jefferson with the pass rush. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. They certainly have the tools, but it's a road dome. I like that for the Vikings.
Teacher v pupil on the coaching. That's always fun.
And I think the Vikings have something to prove in the game. I think they're embarrassed of how they played last night, and they should be. I think they will bounce back, and they'll bounce back hard. and I'm teasing them as well.
No offense, like, because I'm not above like using motivation or something, but like wanting to prove yourself, it's an NFL fucking playoff game. Like, I don't know what that means.
I think they're going to send a message.
Should Darnold join the list? You don't want to bet on rookie quarterbacks on the road. I mean, this is Darnold's first playoff start on the road.
Yeah, it's true, but he's not a rookie. But yes, that's all duly noted. It could go very poorly. He could throw 5 picks. I get it, and I understand all what reasons why to take St. Louis. But I'm going with Minnesota in this game. I think that they can. I just think Jefferson and Addison will not be denied 2 weeks in a row like that. I think they're going to have some big. I think they're going to score, have some big plays. I think they're going to play well. I think they're going to win a game.
I'm taking the Rams because I committed to taking 2 of 3 of Houston, Pittsburgh, and the Rams, Jeff, and so I just took all 3 of them. Hopefully, I go 2-1. I would rather see Minnesota win this game than the Rams, though. But they have the right type of skill players to beat this defense just like Detroit did. Like, the defense looks great until it doesn't, and then all of a sudden there's points going up.
Yeah, this is a matchup problem, as I think the Rams would be a matchup problem for a lot of teams because they do put pressure on quarterbacks, those great rookies. They do have receivers who can make game-breaking plays. They do have elite QB play. They do have high-end coaching. What a fucking matchup to draw. I'm not prepared to bet this game, but I know at this moment I'm prepared to want Minnesota to win. So I'm picking Minnesota here. I like the coach, and I've stand for the quarterback all year. So we'll do it again. Probably be the last time because I think it could be over.
All right, I hope it's not. I'd like to see the Minnesota-Detroit rematch if we can end up getting it. That'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I would hope so. I also, as someone with the Kevin O'Connell Coach of the Year ticket, I don't know how you can vote for O'Connell. I know the parameters, like most with the least. The guy like beat you twice. I don't know how you don't vote for Dan Campbell if you have a vote. Like, how do you vote for the guy who lost to him twice instead of Dan Campbell?
This is rich. This is rich. After spending 2 straight years talking about how Dan Campbell should not win Coach of the Year, now knowing that he has no chance to win Coach of the Year, you turn on your heel and say, "Oh, how can't poor Dan Campbell win?"
I don't believe.
Award?
Listen,
I don't know.
I don't
what
believe he
you're
was the
trying to
Coach
do
of the
here.
Year.
Who you're trying
2
to
years
soften
ago,
up.
he wasn't the Coach of the Year. He was just as responsible for them starting 1-6 as he was for them finishing like 7-1.
No, these are all crocodile tears.
Last year, maybe he deserved it, but it was a great team with great coordinators. Now, in this specific instance, the coach who I have a bet on preseason, who most people believe deserves it, lost twice to the other guy. It's like kind of too black and white for me. You want to hold that against me? I mean, I don't know. Like, I can't have a different opinion when the facts change, as you would say. That's bullshit.
Well, that will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Tim, will you recap your free money teaser, please?
I will indeed. It's an aggressive one, but it's because I don't really love the games that much this week, to be honest with you. We are teasing the Chargers down, the Ravens down, the Eagles down, and the Vikings down.
So Chargers +3, Baltimore -4, Philly +1.5, Minnesota +4.5.
That's right.
All right.
What a weird teaser. Just make
It's very weird. It's very weird, but no, I tried that too and I didn't love it.
Love this more?
No, I don't love it. I don't like the board at all this week. There's the only game I feel like super confident about is Chargers.
Oh. Why? We're mid. We're like, come on.
I know, but like the Texans, I think, are the worst of the 14 teams in the playoffs, and you drew them.
Okay. Thanks, you.
Well, that will do it for us, myself, Paul, Geoff, and Tim and Cust.
Tim and Cust.
That is not my name.
Thank you for being on the line today. The Custy Awards will be coming out soon. Use code MAYO at Underdog. And if you need to hear more of Tim and I, you can tune into the recap show from Sunday night. You need to hear more of Geoff and I, tune into the golf show. And if you get into the golf show, you get to hear more of Geoff and I going back and forth. And if you haven't been following along with golf, join the one and done at fantasygolfchampionships.com. You won't even be cursed if you play in it because Tim's not going to play in it. It'll be perfect for you. Hit the link in the description and go fill that up now. It's It starts on Thursday, and it gives you a reason to pay attention to golf. Even if you don't know anything about it, it gives you a reason to listen to Geoff and I and fail with the picks that go along with us, all right? I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Mayo experience! Experience!